Hello everyone, it's NovaZayn on the mic. Welcome back to the channel. This video will be voiced over as a cheat, and I hope you will enjoy it. During this new season of Dragon Ball FighterZ, my channel has been focusing mainly on offense and how to use character buffs. I thought I'd change things up today and talk about defense, since we've actually gotten even more practical defensive options at our disposal. We'll talk about the new guard castle mechanics, as well as a few other defensive tricks. In this season, they decided to make guard castle more useful in the air. You used to be able to guard castle in the air before in certain situations, but it was more punishable and less useful. It's basically performed the same way as a regular guard castle. Hold forward and tag after blocking at the cost of 1 bar. These are amazing to avoid staircase situations in the air that will lock you in place. It's especially useful against air specials like Gohan's legs, Gotenks super punch, and more. Specials that are blocked in the air give the attacker more frame advantage than on the ground. This could turn certain specials that are negative into positive on block, giving the attacker the advantage. If you don't guard castle these specials, like Gohan's legs, you could be put in a solo mixed situation. A perfectly timed air guard castle could also be effective against multi-hitting air normals like Kefla's JM because she's not able to block in time. But this is only on very specific frames early on, which isn't very realistic since people can't just air guard castle on frame 1. We're not robots, we need time to react and input the guard castle. A few frames off, and these characters have enough time to block and get a full punish. This specific timing to guard castle air normals is why it's very risky and not worth trying to escape a normal staircase situation. Just block. Even at the end of their string, trying to counter their JH could lead you to getting punished. But if they're just an autopilot by mashing their air string, they won't be able to block in time anyways. As the aggressor, make sure your normals are controlled and slowed down. You could also special cancel your air normals to counter the incoming tag with an air invulnerable move, which you can't if you're already in another air special. Aerial level 3s can also be useful in this situation on reaction, which can be practiced when beating regular super dashes as you float around in the air. But in theory, there are also specific situations you can avoid with this air guard cancel option, such as UI's 2S 5S string, although you'd have to be very ready for it. Now let's cover Vanish guard cancel. You can perform it by holding forward plus Vanish, L plus M, after blocking. But this requires 2 bars instead of the regular 1 bar and sends you back to neutral. This can save you from certain guard cancel safe 50-50 mix-ups like ones involving Kid Buu A. Another great use of it is to counter jailed vanishes at the end of the string. Beams into Vanish are a common way to extend your turn since you can't reflect jailed vanishes. You'll have to deal with their plus frames. Be careful of fake vanishes that aren't jailed, like after Ki Blast. You can reflect these. While there are some good OS options on Vanish, like dash blocking, you can escape this situation altogether for 2 bars if you Vanish guard cancel right after they vanish to return to neutral. It can also be used if you want to escape jailed setups from full screen. Most of the time. But they can 2H this if you throw it out recklessly and repetitively during their normal string. So even if you can beat certain mix-ups, things like UI 5M plus Kid Buu A is unguard cancelable since he can 2H during the double hitting 5M animation. Ideally, keep this guard cancel option limited to specials. Vanish guard cancel can also be useful when you want to keep your other characters safe, which is great when you want to conserve blue health or keep your healthier character in front. But remember, it does cost 2 bars. While on the subject, Vanish has also been changed a bit. It's now invincible from the beginning of the move if opponent is performing a Vanish. This is amazing to consistently counter Vanish guard cancel, which can be done even after your special sometimes, trading 2 bars for 1. It's also good against people who mash Vanish a lot during your pressure and on wake up, because before you would tend to get a hit before your Vanish, but now it's more flexible in that sense, allowing you to actually counter them. And of course, remember to be ready to 2H if they start to vanish too much on you for more reward. As you know, holding S will turn normal jumps into super jumps when you press up. Some characters with single hidden key blast can press and hold S to store the super jump macro for later use, but others could have multi-firing key blast from the S button, which makes it harder to press and hold it to store the super jump states. But something that every character can do is hold S right when they enter blocks them. This helps them escape long range tools after blocking, but can also be added onto fuzzy jumps. Fuzzy jumps are basically slightly delayed jumps that you input while blocking someone's pressure. It's delayed enough to keep you safe from frame traps by not coming out, but the jump occurs when they go for anything else that has a bigger gap than a frame trap, like a grab. If you hold S while inputting these fuzzy jumps, they become fuzzy super jumps. This gives you much more space to work with, especially since you can float around them in the air while calling your assist. You can even float all the way to the other side of the screen if you wanted to. It can also help to avoid tools that hit high enough to beat regular fuzzy jumps, such as DBS Broly's 2L or medium grab. A more advanced trick is adding a dash input to fuzzy jumps while holding S, giving you a fuzzy dash super jump or fuzzy moon jump, so that you can cover a lot more space in less time to escape their pressure. Just remember that delayed frame traps can catch these fuzzy jumps, and you may accidentally mess up the timing if you rely on it too much. Another way to use this is after reflects into raw tag. Hold the S after reflecting so that the tagger comes in while being in super jump state. You're often forced to defend if they block your super dash, since that's the safest thing to do even after using your air action. You could perform a forward and backward air dash normal, but if they 2H, that's a dead character. Neutral jumping up just delays the inevitable and gives them more time to work with. However, if you hold S, it gives you even more options after your jump following the block super dash. They'll see the neutral jump and be ready to catch your landings, but you could float to the side, which changes your landing spot slightly in order to throw them off. Experienced players are still not used to this and may mess up their pressure. By pressing L plus N, you get a key charge that now reflects key blasts during the animation and can be held to charge to gain more meter. You can cancel into key charge while blocking and still hold back to block after a burst of key charge you get from tapping L plus N. It can be pretty strong to cancel out zoning options if you're throwing blasts at you from a distance, like in Zone 3. The best way to use this is by simply just tapping key charge so that it becomes active for a bit. This slight charge could bait them into doing something like approaching, super dashing, and more. These short bursts will tempt them to engage since you seem vulnerable. Be careful of pressing H during the charge or you'll get a super dash. Trying to press Vanish during the charge might register as medium, giving you a DR. DR's range from key charging has been increased, so that it can be used to catch them off guard when they stop fire projectiles and dash toward you to get a hit. This is a very risky maneuver though, so be careful. Remember that charging does not keep you safe from beams, projectiles with higher property, and other moves. This trick is mostly helpful against characters with multi-hitting key blasts like Z Broly, since he has a slow beam property move, Team Gohan, since he has a slower full screen option, and more. But it's not as useful against characters with quick full screen presence such as Bardock, Base Vegeta, etc. And there you go, that covers most of the direct defensive mechanics. Remember other options such as tagging out after specials on offense during combos to help preserve your team's health. Tagging out on block specials can also help you manage your team health as well. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this new video style and if you would like future videos to be similar as this one. Criticism is always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and leave a comment to help the channel.